The hidden connection between movies and market manipulation. Are movies simply stories meant to entertain, or could they possess the power to shape the way we think, act, and invest? As investors, we are often entrenched in analyzing graphs, trends, and data. But what if one of the biggest influences on our market decisions comes from a very unexpected place? The films we watch? In today's video, we'll uncover the fascinating relationship between Hollywood and financial markets. By the end, you'll not only be entertained, but also sharpen your ability to detect manipulation in both the movies and the marketplace. Let's dive in. Hollywood's depictions of financial markets are captivating. They are gritty, chaotic, and often larger than life. Films like The Big Short, The Wolf of Wall Street, and Margin Call captivate audiences by condensing complex financial schemes into digestible narratives. But here's the catch. These simplified stories can shape our perceptions of how the markets work, often in ways we don't even realize. Investors risk internalizing the glamorized, dramatized portrayals, potentially influencing their real-world decisions. For example, glorifying a fraudulent trader or oversimplifying intricate schemes doesn't just distort reality. It may also normalize or, worse, encourage risky financial behavior. These influences matter. Markets react to public sentiment, and public sentiment is increasingly shaped by the stories we consume. So let's explore how Hollywood uses art to imitate life, and sometimes life to imitate art. What makes financial markets such a compelling muse for filmmakers? It all comes down to three timeless storytelling elements: ambition, power, and betrayal. At its core, finance isn't just about numbers, it's about people, their vulnerabilities, and the extremes they'll go to for gain. Take Wall Street, for instance. Gordon Gekko's infamous "greed is good" speech became a mantra for an era of unrestrained ambition. Was the intent to warn viewers about the consequences of unchecked greed? Probably. But ironically, the line also inspired real-life Wall Street professionals, fueling a culture of excess in the 1980s. This dichotomy, movies as both cautionary tales and subtle glamorizations, has cemented their place in the minds of investors. Hollywood loves to trim complexities for the sake of storytelling. Take The Big Short. The movie does a brilliant job of explaining subprime mortgages and credit default swaps using entertaining metaphors. However, the simplification glosses over just how opaque and technical these instruments are in the real world. Such reductions can feed into biases. Investors may believe they fully grasp complex financial structures because they saw a simplified version in a movie. This translation from screen to perception creates a fertile ground for misunderstandings that can lead to costly mistakes in real markets. One hallmark of Hollywood storytelling is its ability to create compelling heroes and villains. From rogue traders portrayed as overly ambitious geniuses to whistleblowers cast as noble underdogs, these archetypes frame how we think about financial players. Consider The Big Short. While some might view the protagonists as heroes for exposing a broken system, others could see them as opportunists who capitalized on its downfall. Such dual portrayals provoke thought but also invite bias, especially if audiences align themselves too readily with one group. This hero-villain dynamic simplifies the moral gray areas of finance, overshadowing the fact that most market participants operate in shades of ambiguity. Hollywood walks a fine line between storytelling and glorification. Movies like The Wolf of Wall Street paint an exhilarating portrait of excess and debauchery while exposing the fraudulent practices behind it. However, there's a risk. The energy and charisma of characters like Jordan Belfort can make their criminal behavior appear aspirational. For example, young professionals have reportedly cited Belfort as an inspiration, focusing on his charm and success while overlooking the consequences of fraud. This proves how dangerously easy it is for entertainment to shift from critique to glorification. Not all movies glamorize manipulation, though. Many aim to serve as lessons for wary investors. Wall Street, The Big Short, and Margin Call act as mirrors, showing the devastating effects of recklessness, greed, and short-sightedness. Watching these stories unfold offers a key benefit. investors become more attuned to spotting red flags. Whether it's the too good to be true investment pitch or the systemic risks ignored by experts, these films challenge viewers to stay vigilant. Let's dive into a curious question. Is the timing of movie releases that depict market manipulation purely coincidental, or is there something more calculated at play? Take The Big Short, released in 2015. Its debut came several years after the 2008 Crisis, but still during discussions of financial reform and accountability. Similarly, the increased public interest in fraud cases like FTX or GameStop seems to coincide with renewed enthusiasm for finance-driven narratives on screen. Could it be that Hollywood capitalizes on popular sentiment to amplify its impact? Or could powerful financial players be using cinematic narratives to drive home their own agendas? It's an idea worth considering. Behavioral biases heavily shape investor behavior. Anchoring, where people overly rely on the first piece of information they see, is one such example. Movies play into this bias by presenting striking visuals and simplified stories that serve as anchors for understanding complex financial issues. Similarly, confirmation bias, the tendency to favor information that aligns with one's existing beliefs, also comes into play. Investors who watch a film like Margin Call might feel validated in their mistrust of financial institutions, further entrenching their beliefs instead of carefully evaluating the evidence. These biases triggered by films influence how we interpret market events. Now comes the big question. Could filmmakers and studios intentionally or unintentionally contribute to financial manipulation? While there's no direct evidence, consider this hypothetical scenario. What if a powerful investor or entity influences the portrayal of financial topics to sway public opinion? A negative portrayal of short selling during a publicized short squeeze might align suspiciously well with the interests of large institutions seeking to frame such strategies as harmful. The impact may be subtle, but when combined with broader media narratives, it raises questions about intent. The Big Short is a standout example of Hollywood's ability to educate, entertain, and provoke thought simultaneously. The film's raw honesty about the 2008 financial collapse forces viewers to question their trust in financial systems. It was a wake-up call for the general public. For investors, it offered a guidebook for recognizing the warning signs of economic bubbles. This is the kind of portrayal that Hollywood should aspire toward, entertaining but firmly rooted in truth. On the flip side, The Wolf of Wall Street offers a cautionary tale that inadvertently became a celebration of excess. Jordan Belfort's portrayal is so magnetic that audiences often miss the devastating consequences of his actions. This contrast between message and reception highlights a key issue. Audiences absorb narratives differently than intended. A film meant as a critique might instead validate self-destructive behaviors simply because of its charismatic storytelling. For all its flaws, the genre of financial films offers immense educational potential. Movies provide a relatable entry point for otherwise complex subjects. They demystify trading, fraud, and economic collapses, making them understandable for viewers across the board. As investors, you can use popular financial films as a jumping-off point to learn more, fact-checking their narratives against reliable resources and applying insights to your own strategies. It's easy to point out Hollywood's oversimplifications and glorifications, but these films also provide real value when done correctly. They draw attention to significant events, educate the masses about the risks of mismanagement, and inspire conversations about reform. By separating entertainment from actionable information, investors can enjoy these stories without falling for their biases or dramatizations. So how can you, as an investor, consume financial media like movies responsibly? The answer lies in critical thinking. First, remember that movies are not documentaries. Even when based on true events, they prioritize drama over accuracy. Second, always supplement what you learn with additional research. If something strikes you as significant, dig deeper into the real-world facts behind it. Finally, stay mindful of potential biases. Ask yourself, is this meant to inform or entertain? The distinction is crucial. At the end of the day, who benefits from Hollywood's narratives about the market? On one hand, filmmakers gain audiences and profits. On the other, market players can leverage these narratives to bolster their agendas or sway public opinion. As investors, awareness of these dynamics ensures you aren't swayed by entertainment masquerading as education. Movies are powerful. They inspire, educate, and entertain. But for investors, they also shape perceptions and behaviors in subtle yet significant ways. Whether shedding light on manipulation or creating unrealistic expectations, Hollywood has undeniably intertwined itself with the financial world. The next time you watch a finance-driven film, approach it with both an open mind and a critical eye. By decoding these hidden connections and thinking beyond Hollywood's dramatizations, you'll be better equipped to protect your assets and outsmart manipulation, both on-screen and off. Thank you for joining us today, and as always, be informed, think critically, and invest wisely.